Long story short, long story short, this is what it is, man. Reporting live. I'll show y'all something.
You can learn 100 songs on piano in 1 hour. No way! All you need to learn is 4 chords. These. 1, 2. So let's jump right into it. This is the legend of the 4-hour tape. You know that meme about how presidents and governors, after getting elected, look super shell-shocked and stressed the next time they make a public appearance just a week later? Like the first time that happens after you come into power is that you're pulled into a room and told all the secrets of the world? Well, it turns out it's true. As a matter of fact, it's a VHS tape. The 4-hour tape. The 4-hour tape was always a bit of an urban legend around the office. The details of Ben's role in the government are very, very vague. But to be absolutely clear, he is considered very low level. His role is caked between layers of bureaucracy, and in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty insignificant role. If you're working at his level, you're generally not privy to any of the high-level secrets. Yes, top secret meetings did occasionally take place in his building, but his focus was pretty limited to and heavily administrative. So in this case, you do what any department does when you're at the bottom of the totem pole. You discuss rumors, rumblings, crazy conspiracy theories, and everything in between. It's water cooler conversation for them. I wonder what the folks at the top are doing right now type stuff. But out of all the rumors at the office, the 4-hour tape was always the one Ben found to be the most fascinating. The crew of it, once you reach the highest security level clearance, you are sat down and shown this particular tape. Neither he nor his colleagues knew what types of contents were on the tape, or if the tape even actually existed, but they found joy in the speculation that it existed every now and again. Most of the time, they found with their little rumors or conspiracy theorists that the most mundane, boring answer was actually the correct one. Life in general finds a way to surprise you with how monotonous everything can really be. Now, there's something you should know before continuing this story. Ben is a wimp. He's meek, anxious, and generally pretty restless. A chronic rule follower, there is no part of him that wants to dig up secret documents and uncover the truth about what happens at the highest levels of government in our country. So, when covering his accidental discovery 4 nights ago, keep in mind, he didn't want this. He didn't ask for it, and the only reason he shared this is because he really didn't know at the time how much time he had left anyway, and he couldn't live with this stuck in his conscience alone. It was nighttime at the office. Ben, who was known to be a bit of a workaholic, was really wanting to get something done before the week was over, so he was working later than usual. As he was wrapping up, he went to print a document on what he thought was his usual printer, the printer in his immediate vicinity. The notification on his computer showed that his document was being printed, but he didn't hear any noise coming out from the local printer. He proceeded to check the device he selected, and it looked like he accidentally closed on a printer that was being used on an entirely different floor. He let out a disappointing sigh. In any normal circumstances, he probably would have just forgotten about the mistake and reprinted the documents on his local computer again, but general management there was quite strict on team members making sure that all confidential documents were accounted for. They were not allowed to share department-specific documentation to other departments. Screw it, he thought. He looked up a map in his inbox showing the locations of all of the company printers. Turns out he'd accidentally clicked the wrong printer name. Prince Charming, on the 7th floor. Haha, funny name, he laughed to himself. Then off he went. He really should have just let it be. He got to the elevator, rode it up to the 7th floor. He emerged in mostly an empty office area. In case you're wondering, the building is huge where he worked, but he'd worked there long enough to know his way around, so he knew the area pretty well. He made his way through the hallways and eventually spotted the printer. Yes, with his freshly printed papers minting it. He gave himself a mental pat on the back for continuing his lifelong streak of following the rules. But as he went to grab the papers, he noticed some light chatter from a meeting room nearby him. He looked through the window to see roughly 10 people hanging around a snack table. In the room was a large, old-looking TV on a cart, and rows of some of the fanciest folding chairs he'd ever seen, organized in a very neat fashion. He didn't think much of it and started to walk back towards the elevator until he heard the door fly open. "Hey, Mr. Boskowitz, right? Jesus, man, we were supposed to start 15 minutes ago. Get your ass in here." What? No, sorry, I think you have the wrong. I don't care why you're late. Just get in here, grab a plate of snacks, and sit down. We are starting ASAP. Put your phone in the bag, electronic watch in the bag, and everything else on your person that can be used to record audio or video, he responded hastily. Something about his sternness and tone short-circuited Ben's brain. For guys like him, there is a third option beyond fight or flight. It's called just go with it till it's over, also known as the captured rabbit strategy. He put his phone and watch in the bag, then meekly tried to butt in with another, "Sir, I'm not Mr. Boskowitz," but he had already pulled him into the room at this point. He closed the door, walked to the front, near the TV. He contemplated making a break for it, but he decided to just see through it, hoping deep down that whatever was happening was as inconsequential as his job was. Everyone had their snack plates and were heading to their seats. Ben awkwardly grabbed a muffin from the snack table, put it on a napkin, and took a seat in the very back row. Everyone was spaced out evenly from each other. It didn't seem like anybody knew one another. He quietly sighed at the thought of having to sit through some sort of boring informational seminar or irrelevant training session. After a few minutes of everyone settling in, the man who originally drug him into the room started talking. There was an equally serious guy standing next to him and a Secret Service looking fella standing in the corner. Huh? Ben started to wonder to himself why they were about to watch a video from a very old school looking TV. Felt like he was back in elementary school or something. "Alright, I just need to do a final run through before we get started," said the man at the front. "I know you all read through the emails and signed your releases. I just wanted to recap some of the ground rules. You're allowed to get up and grab another snack, but beyond that, we want you to pay full attention to the tape once it starts playing. If anyone needs to go to the bathroom, we strongly urge you to wait until the presentation is over. If you absolutely can't hold it, we will pause the tape and one of us will escort you. There's water in the corner by the snacks, cups are right there as well, and goes without saying, but any discussion of this presentation to folks who do not have top compartmented clearance is a breach of your terms of employment, a breach of your non-disclosure agreement, a breach of your multiple signed releases, a breach of the U.S. Criminal Code in the state of Washington, and a breach of the conditions laid out by," and the committee name he highlighted sounded way above my clearance level. One of the men at the front of the room pulled a VHS tape from a bag and very slowly and securely put it into the VCR, then pressed play. Ben took a deep breath. Those water cooler conversations he'd had with his coworkers were starting to float to the top of his mind, but he quelled them. There was probably no need for panic, he thought to himself. It was just a stupid government meeting, right? The tape started. The beginning was familiar enough. Various disclaimers about being incredibly confidential material, yada yada yada. Insignias of relevant organizations, presidential libraries, etc. Had seen lots of videos like this already, he thought. But wait, the insignia looked strange. Like something was off. He scanned it over again. Presidential libraries, that same eagle, those same stars. Weird. This time there was a navy blue hand on the left shoulder of the eagle. Had they updated the logo? How come he hadn't been informed of this? Before he had time to ponder on it too much, the tape cut to a logo he actually hadn't seen up to this point. Committee for the Protection and Preservation of Human Consciousness. The logo was just an image of planet Earth. Okay, fair enough, he thought. The video cut to a room that looked similar to the Congress floor, but with some strange differences. Seats were much more spaced out. The podium looked like it had seen its better days, and the whole room looked to be on a pretty steep incline. Everything was black and white. It looked like there was probably 50 or so people in attendance. He couldn't make out any of the faces. Everything looked very dated, like the video had been from the 50s or 60s. The tape lingered on this one shot for quite a while. Minutes passed. Ben noticed what looked like a choir, all in outfit and perfectly huddled next to each other, standing in one of the corners of the very large room. It was really starting to feel like he shouldn't have been seeing this. None of this was meant for his eyes, he told himself. After a few more minutes, the tape abruptly cut to an awkward angle of a man speaking at the podium in front of the room. It was way too zoomed in, enough that you couldn't see his eyes or his hair. It didn't look all that professional. You couldn't even tell who he was. He spoke. Members of the Committee for the Protection and Preservation of Human Consciousness, I thank you all for coming tonight. We are lucky to be in the good graces of our visitors today without rehashing our painful history. The tape cut to a camera slowly panning over all of the faces of the people seated in the room. The attendees looked pained, somber. The man continued his speech as the camera continued panning over the committee. We acknowledge that the journey to this moment has been an arduous one. I am pleased to say that humanity, faced with a dire ultimatum, has come to a majority decision. To our esteemed guests from across the solar system, we are thankful for the opportunity you have given us to negotiate with you. Adrenaline shot through Ben's entire being. Oh shit, we made contact with extraterrestrial life? This was the truth. Maybe like the saying, the truth would set him free. Before I outline the decision taken by humanity, I want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank the brilliant representatives from all of the nations across the world who came together to ensure that this decision was taken with the utmost responsibility, care, and appreciation for our human species. I am aware that this was not a unanimous decision. Shit, what did that mean? Sweat formed on Ben's brow. He suddenly felt nauseous. He awkwardly and slowly took a bite from his muffin. The tape returned to a now corrected angle of the speaker at the podium. His eyes were visible. They looked strained, like they'd seen multiple versions of hell. The nations who still disagree, he continued, I thank you nonetheless for accepting this majority decision. May this moment, which will be held in the secrecy throughout the rest of time, be appreciated as a critical milestone for human civilization. Tonight is not a victory, it is a somber moment. However, we were faced with only two options, extinction or accepting the terms of the treaty put forth by our visitors. We made our choice and believe time will show that it was the right decision. Well, what choice, Ben thought? I hereby announce that we accept the agreement put forth by our special guests who have chosen to go by the name Custodians, will allow humanity on the planet Earth to continue to populate, grow, and innovate. In return, all governments of the world will honor the promise. Ben was growing impatient as the gentleman continued. Spit it out, he thought. What was the damn agreement, he thought to himself. We will not be covering every element of this agreement in this session. I will, however, highlight the main points. At this point, the video showed the man at the podium looking down. He was reading something. For the first time, he looked nervous, scared even. His human nature shone right through. We honor the agreement that the custodians hold the right to visit planet Earth on a recurring basis. They will be allowed to consume, for the basis of nourishment, a majority of our population on our planet after every visit. Remaining humans on Earth will be expected to breed and grow to capacity in time for the next visit. We acknowledge that we will maintain a parallel history which will be shared with our world's population to ensure that humanity stays motivated to continue existing as a species. This parallel history will suggest that mass extinction events are the result of man-made folly as opposed to the work of external forces. For the first time, Ben's flight or fight response was actually flight. He wanted to escape, but he didn't know what he'd even be running from. The last visit by the custodians was approximately in the year 1346, and it lasted 7 years. We will continue to honor our parallel history around this event. He just wanted it to end. The next visit, which will not be met with resistance, will be in the year 2028, and will run for 1 full calendar year on Earth, marking a 675-year gap between the last significant visit by the species known as the custodians. This visiting cadence is expected to speed up over time, as the remaining humans continue to sharpen their focus on building technology, allowing humanity to reproduce in a speedy and productive manner. Jesus Christ, it finally hit Ben like a high-speed train. Our planet is a goddamn farm. He wanted to look away, but he couldn't. The tape cut away to a large view of the Congress-like room, the somber committee members in attendance, and the members of the choir in the corner, who one could only imagine looked horrified. Where were the visitors? Why can't I see them? Thought Ben. The camera panned to a number of larger, empty seats. The same slow style of video panning as the one that happened earlier with the committee members. No visible entities in the seats, but the seats themselves looked very blurry. The man at the podium carried on with his speech as the camera panning to the blurry seats continued. We acknowledge the privilege of knowing that there is indeed life in the cosmos, that extraterrestrial life has chosen to visit our planet, and that the cycle and balance provided by nature extends beyond the confines of this planet Earth. Much like humanity has found its place on Earth in the food chain, we acknowledge our place in the divine order of things when encountered with beings of greater power, understanding, cognitive function, and evolutionary progression. Oh hell, why did I stay late? Ben scolded himself. I should have made my identity clear from the beginning. I knew I wasn't supposed to see this. While the process of consumption is a painful and lengthy one, we respect the trade-off that comes with the preservation of our species. We also acknowledge, as part of the promise, that substitutes for human life in the form of clones, should we discover that technology in the future or other living species, will never function as a viable alternative for the nourishment, the speaker continued. Ben didn't need to know this. This was all way too specific for him. Our final major acknowledgement as part of this agreement is that we accept the custodians as the Great Almighty, as the entities we will now refer to as God. God, as an interstellar species, has revealed itself to us, and thus, the continued existence for the custodians is now the true priority of the people of our planet. We are blessed to play a part in the continuation of God. In God we trust. Amen. The tape then cut to footage of the choir as the speaker continued. We bless our visitors with this gift, a performance of the national anthems of all major nations of the world, and it will now commence. Audio of a very loud track of the Star Spangled Banner started playing from the video. Ben's stomach sank. Audio of a very loud backing track of the Star Spangled Banner started playing from the video. Ben's stomach sank. The tape showed footage of the choir singing on top of the track. Not sure if it was because they were scared for their lives, but you could really tell they were singing their hearts out. As they sang, the camera continued to pan over the blurry seats. They finished singing the anthem and then suddenly, fast forwarding. Hell, he had forgotten he was sitting in a room. He had disengaged from the video for a brief moment. He mentally returned to the present day. This was our world? This was our meaningless lives? The men at the front continued to fast forward through the tape. It looked like they were skipping through performances of the other national anthems. The fast forwarding went on for a while. Every small while, it looked like a new choir group was entering the room to sing a different national anthem. On and on the tape went. Ben had to fight the urge to pass out. One of the men at the front of the room, standing next to the TV, started speaking up. We are legally obligated to get to the end of this tape, but you don't need to look at the rest of it. Please feel free to look down or close your eyes, grab a snack, he said. Ben noticed others seated in the room taking that advice. Most of them decided to look straight down, but for some weird reason, Ben couldn't look away. The fast-forwarding progressed. On the tape, it was yet another choir group joining to perform an anthem. Then another, then another. They were nearing the end. The fast-forwarding now showed a conversation between the man at the podium and another man who was whispering in his ear. The man at the podium was vehemently shaking his head. The other man continued whispering. This continued on for a brief moment. Eventually, there was a quick moment of the man at the podium begrudgingly nodding. The last few fast-forward moments of the tape remained burned into Ben's memory this very moment. They were absolute chaos. The attendees were sitting in their chairs frozen, shivering, crying. The people in the various choirs were running around the rooms in fast motion. As the blurry spots started covering them and ungodly things started happening to them. Why didn't I look away? Thought Ben. If ever there was a time to follow orders. It felt like this thing went on for way longer than it should have. Finally, the men at the front of the room stopped the fast forwarding. They pressed play on the tape to cover the very final moment. In the tape, the man at the podium, clearly emotional, spoke his final line. The agreement has been ratified by the custodians. Thank you all for attending. The final shot of the video is the full room. The committee members in their seats shivering and crying. The dismantled bloody choir members strewn about the room. The blurry seats with dark liquid smeared on them. Then the video cut away. Back to the same insignia on the black backdrop. The presidential libraries, that eagle, those stars. The navy blue hand on the wing of the eagle. The lights in the conference room turned on. The rest of the night was a blur. The men at the front of the room told us it would be best for us to sit for an hour to digest the information. No discussion about the video was allowed to take place. When we were ready to stand, we were allowed to leave and go home. They gave us some pointers on how to accept the information over the coming weeks. Things like taking long walks, exercising, watching a sitcom, etc. Ben wasn't even worried about them realizing he wasn't supposed to be there. If anything, he felt a strange camaraderie with everyone in the room. They were all truly in the same boat. As soon as he left the building, he got in his car and just drove for as long as he could. He'd stop for gas, then just keep driving. Stop again, then keep driving again and again. He's hauled up in a hotel right now. He's just glad he could get this off his chest. Funny thing is, all he can think about is the length of that stupid tape. While I can't confirm, I feel like if it were played straight through without fast forwarding, it would have been only 3 hours. I wonder if the 4-hour tape rumor came from the fact that we all needed that extra hour to digest the information. Well, as the self-appointed leader of the committee for the acknowledgement, we should have just chose extinction. I don't feel the need to honor our captors by calling them by their name. If I don't see you again, Reddit, I appreciate the water cooler conversation.
So, how could we do this? The answer came from the wisest of the council when she said,
So I hope y'all enjoyed that crazy-ass story. It was a mind-boggler for me. Could you imagine that we're actually a farm? Mind-blowing revelation.
In conclusion, we asked, we do not understand what you mean, Great Councilwoman. She said, you will have to enter into a human body, and you will have to live as one of them, and under the Galactic Codex, this is the only way you can change the situation without interfering from the outside. She said, the only way to enter into this human body and live in it is to be
Well,
as a human.
that's that. So, take it how you want, man.
However, due to the low
But
vibrations
I've been
on Earth,
feeling like that.
higher abilities will not function.
You know what I mean?
So
But
you will have to improvise.
there's more than just that. That's just one side of it.
I have to tell you the truth. The low vibrations of Earth will be, in fact, harmful, even toxic, to your being, and during a human lifetime, it is likely that you will experience some painful and
Screw it,
stressful
man. I'm gonna let
events.
y'all watch this too.
It is the opposite of the perfection you are used to, and
Let me
it is
turn this
where
camera around. Let me
angels
see.
fear to tread. She said, "You will have to incarnate over and over in a human body there for a long time until your mission is successful and complete. And it's going to take a long time for you to reach a level of spiritual maturity in that human body to be able to have a real effect." After hearing all of this discussion about going to Earth, we were not so enthusiastic at all. In fact, just the opposite. Regardless, later that fateful day, the High Council decreed that the mission to Earth was a go. Things are primarily done by volunteering in the Galactic Federation, so the question was broadcast to all elite members, being addressed by the High Council. Who will go down there? Who will volunteer to go on the mission to Earth to rescue humanity from the darkness? Who is brave enough and who is strong enough to go? She said, "We have assembled you specifically because you are the most elite and the strongest light beings in this universe. Will you go down there?" Well, if you remember that fateful day as we do, you will recall that not one of us said yes. Not one raised their hand and volunteered out of 4.5 billion. To be honest, we thought about what it would feel like to lower our vibration so low to live on Earth, and about all the other not so nice things we would experience. To make it worse, we wouldn't be able to use our higher powers to make things better. So, all in all, it was the most frightening thing we had ever considered. Do you remember that moment? Every great story has a twist, so here's one for you. In the great Amenti halls of the Pleiades, where we stood that day, I looked over to my right, and I saw you standing beside me. The Grand Council of Light said, "We again ask, who will go to Earth and save the beings there? Who will sacrifice everything and go down there?" It was so quiet that fateful day you could hear a pin drop as we all stood side by side in the great halls. There was a silence in heaven for about half an hour. Then all of a sudden I saw you step forward. I saw you raise your hand before the councils of light. I heard you say, "I will go down there. I, for one, will do it," you proclaimed. "I will sacrifice everything and go down from this high place to Earth to save humanity. I will give up my divine royalty, all my supernatural ability, and I will walk with them as one of them, and I will endure what is given to me in that place. I will be a light unto them all, and I will help them find their way. I will help them change the world they live in, and together we will make it a better place for all beings of the earth." When I saw you do this, and when I heard your words, tears filled my eyes, and I too stepped forward with great enthusiasm. I said, "If she will go down there, I will surely go with her. If she is brave enough to go, then I surely am. I will go, and I will sacrifice everything to help the beings of Earth." We tell you the truth. By the end of that fateful day, all 4.5 billion elite star beings who were asked to go to Earth volunteered for the long mission. The decree was then given that a rescue mission to Earth would soon be underway. For a time, we all assembled in the great halls of the Galactic Federation, and we began to plan our mission to Earth. On huge tables, we opened the great scrolls and tablets of light, and we began to create a plan for the journey to Earth. We created blueprints, and we made cosmic contracts and agreements for our mission to Earth. We pre-planned and detailed every event and situation that would happen when we incarnated on Earth in human bodies. Do you remember? You do remember, don't you? As we were all assembled and making a plan for our mission, one said, "In one incarnation, I will be born as an infant to John and Mary, my selected parents, and I will live in this certain earth city. My parents, especially my mother, will not be very nice to me. When I am 4 years old, I will learn to ride a bicycle," she said. "I will wreck my bike and scar my knees as I learn to ride," she went on. "When I am in Earth School, I will fall in love with this cute boy. He will break my heart when he doesn't love me back the same way." She went on to describe every detail of this incarnation. She even described other incarnations where she would be crippled and in a wheelchair, and in one incarnation where she would have a fateful auto crash. We listened carefully as the expressions changed on our faces, and then we asked, "Are you serious? Why in the world would you go down to Earth and do all of this painful stuff to yourself? Why would you purposely choose to have such a bad life experience? Why would you do such a thing? We do not understand." And you answered with a smile on your face, "All I know is my perfected self, and I have never experienced duality or the opposite of what I am. I cannot fully know myself until I have experienced and know the opposite of who and what I am. This is why I will do all of this on my journey to Earth," you said. "Our primary reason for coming to Earth was to assist humans in their conscious evolution, but we also had the opportunity to experience the contrast of human duality and evolve in a way that eventually moved us back closer to oneness. When our plans were all made..."
Find amazing deals store-wide during the anniversary sale at Furniture Row. And right now,
My bad. Oh man, I don't think anybody's even there. I don't got no. There's nobody on live, but run that back. Run that back, man, and see some real.
Depart for Earth.
Back at it.
3, 2,
1. Boom.
go. We opened a multi-dimensional door
Here we go.
in the midst of the Great Hall, and this was our travel way and portal to Earth. At that moment, we all held hands. We took a deep breath, and we jumped into the abyss. As we lowered the vibration of our bodies to levels they had never experienced, we came crashing down through 2-dimensional levels as we fell. As we came down, we smashed through the frequency barriers which separate dimensions, and it was quite painful, to say the least. Each of us emerged out of the other side of this tunnel of light, but the 3D Earth side of this tunnel was a female birth tunnel. Our souls had been born inside human bodies as infants, and we were on Earth. There is a caveat about this trip to Earth. It is a multi-dimensional trip, so it works on many levels. A Pleiadian metaphor, a landing on Earth. The first day of your first incarnation on Earth was about 5 million years ago, and on the day you arrived on Earth, the landing was not soft. In fact, you crash-landed your light body ship. When your Merkaba crashed down on Earth that day, your light vehicle was damaged from the impact, and your higher being was knocked out and became completely unconscious. You were stranded on an alien world. You remained in this unconscious state for a millennia. One day, another higher being came up, saw you unconscious, and tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Wake up, you've been asleep for a long time." That being said, "Look and see the great ship that brought you to Earth. It is time to repair the damage to your light vehicle, recharge the fuel cells, and prepare to lift off again, back to the heavens from whence you came. It is time to ascend back to the higher realms. It is time to go home." This is where we are, Great One, on your grand journey, right here, right now. And our metaphor has happened, Great One, as you read this message. And this is where we are, Great One, on your grand journey, right here, right now. And our metaphor has happened, Great One, as you read this message. Look closely. You know what happened by now. You know the whole story. You know who you are, what you can do, and where you came from. You know the details of events, even from eons ago, that have all led up to now. You are fully conscious now, and you have evolved your soul. You are ready to return home. Just remember, your prime mission is to assist humanity, and you must wait on them just a bit longer. They are all coming around much faster than you may think now. Humans are closer than ever to being able to receive the story of what really happened. However, we must tell them in a gentle way, and only when they are fully ready to hear it. The galactic wars have since ended, and there is now mostly peace between all star nations. No dark force is controlling planet Earth now, and more light information is beginning to flow to the beings of Earth from the fifth dimension. The light is truth, and this truth is all freedom. As this light continues to permeate the Earth realm, humanity will continue waking up at incredible levels. In Earth Year 2015, the Galactic Federation established the Earth Alliance, which is comprised of elite light forces stationed on the surface. They are tasked with moving humans much quicker along the Gamma positive timeline. Large numbers of Earth Alliance beings now hold powerful positions inside world organizations, Earth's governments, and from this inner position, they are indeed effecting great positive change on Earth. Great resets have been recently initiated all around the planet by these magnificent beings, and things are moving fast on the new timeline as this galactic level reset spreads across the world. The primary 5D star nations involved in benevolent service to humanity's ascension right now are the Andromedans, the Arcturians, the Syrians, and the Palladians. Be assured that one of these groups is your direct Lyran Homin star family, and this is where you came from before your trip to Earth. You can easily discover which star family you belong to by doing some searches to learn the distant characteristics of each group. Great one. You are an entirely different species than indigenous Earth humans. You are human enough because you are in a human body, and you live with humans every day. But you know good and well you are different from them. You aren't better than them. You simply resonate at a higher frequency. The ancient books, in fact, say the angels are created a bit higher than humans. Having true conscious awareness about who and what you truly are is one of the prime objectives of your journey to Earth. So who and what are you, ultimately? We could say an angel, and it would be true. Angels are misunderstood in Earth's religious teachings, as they don't have feather wings, and they are not soft little cute babies. They look like you, and they look like me, and they are the most powerful beings in the universe. We could call you a celestial being, a light being, a star being, or a starseed, and we would be correct. We could say you are an extraterrestrial, and it would be 100% accurate because you came to Earth from another world. It is now proven by Earth science that a large portion of your DNA doesn't come from Earth. When you see ancient megalithic stones with markings carved on them, know that you did it. Traces of what you built here are scattered all over the planet still today. You are the ancient alien, except we really don't care for the word alien, as we prefer to be called family instead. You are the gods that came down from the sky to Earth. You are written about in every ancient book in human history, and you see the great story we are telling is about you. You came to Earth millions of years ago from a celestial world. You came here on purpose and with a purpose, and you have already made this world better just by being here. Remember that only the strongest and most advanced souls were asked to come to Earth on this grand mission to assist humanity. So since you are here, know how magnificent you are. Currently, there are around 4.5 billion elite starseeds stationed on the planet that are your direct Lyran humanoid family, who came here from the fifth dimension to change the energy of this realm. The 4.5 billion elite starseeds here are the most advanced spiritual beings on Earth today. They are the guides and masters working every day to create a better world for all. Their primary goal is to create a high vibrational reality on Earth where humans are abundant, free, healthy, and all live in peace. Great One, the journey to Earth has been a long and hard mission, filled with many pains, but also filled with so many beautiful moments. It's the contrast that exists on our beautiful home on Earth that we love so much. Earth is a very special place, and there is nowhere exactly like it in the entire cosmos. Thank you for integrating the information we have given you here. Light is shining on this world like never before, as the children of Lyra return this world back to the paradise it was always meant to be. You are direct family, and we love you. Together, we are the great family of light, and we are the ones that number as the sands of the sea, and who overcame the whole world. Tell one of your ancient memories. Share an experience you had with another higher being, and let us know which star families you most resonate with.
I'm done with it. I'm done with it, man. I'm getting off here. Y'all have a blessed night, bro. I'll go to the most.